Chevrolet built a 9-passenger wagon in 1956 so good that Ford dealers were reportedly panicking. Then it vanished from American roads, not because it failed, but because of a boardroom decision that had nothing to do with the car. This is the 1956 Chevrolet 210 Beauville, and if you think you already know this story, you don't. Today, we are breaking down everything: the engine, the specs, the culture, and why survivors are now selling for serious money at auction. Let's get into it. To understand the Beauville, you have to understand what America looked like in 1956. The country was in full post-war bloom. The GI Bill had sent millions of veterans into new jobs, new colleges, and most importantly, brand new suburban homes. Families were bigger, driveways were wider, and the two-door coupe your grandfather drove before the war simply could not hold a wife, 4 kids, a dog, and a weekend's worth of camping gear. Eisenhower had just signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, launching the interstate highway system. For the first time, families could realistically plan road trips coast to coast, and they needed a vehicle built for it. Here is something most people miss. The station wagon was not considered a compromise in this era. It was an aspiration. Owning a full-size, well-trimmed wagon meant you had made it. Chevrolet understood this completely, and they built the Beauville to match that dream. The 210 was Chevrolet's middle trim level, above the base 150, below the top-of-the-line Bel Air, the sweet spot. More refined than the working-class model, but priced where real families could reach it. The Beauville was the 4-door, 9-passenger station wagon within that lineup. 9 passengers in a 1956 automobile. That third row, facing rearward, became one of the most iconic features in American automotive history. Every kid who ever rode backward in one of those seats, watching the road disappear behind them, will tell you the same thing. That was the best seat in the house. Now, here's where Chevrolet really separated itself. The Beauville came with a 2-piece tailgate. The rear window lowered directly into the gate, creating a wide, clean opening, practical in a way competitors had not matched. Two-tone paint was available in combinations like India ivory over Sherwood green, and chrome window surrounds with stainless accents gave the car a presence that felt unmistakably upscale for its price class. Under that long hood, the base engine was Chevrolet's 235 cubic inch Blue Flame inline 6-cylinder, producing 140 horsepower. Smooth, reliable, economical, the sensible choice for most buyers. But here's where it gets interesting. Chevrolet also offered the 265 cubic inch small block V8, and this was not just any V8. This was only the second year of production for the legendary Chevy small block, already earning a reputation as one of the most important engines ever built. In the Beauville, that 265 came in multiple states of tune. The base 2-barrel made 162 horsepower, but with the optional power pack, a 4-barrel carburetor and dual exhausts, you were looking at 205 horsepower in a 9-passenger family wagon. This was not a grocery getter. This was a rocket ship with room for the whole neighborhood. The Powerglide 2-speed automatic was available, as was a 3-speed manual. Power steering and power brakes rounded out the options list, luxuries that, in 1956, signaled serious intent. Here's what the history books sometimes gloss over. In 1956, the American car market was not a polite competition, it was a war. Ford had its own wagon lineup, Plymouth was pushing hard, and every model year brought fresh sheet metal, new chrome, new features. Planned obsolescence was not just accepted, it was celebrated. Last year's car looked old, this year's car looked like the future. Chevrolet's 1956 redesign gave the lineup a lower, wider stance and a more rakish roofline. Styling chief Claire McKitchen understood something Ford designers were still figuring out. Elegance and excess are not the same thing. Where competitors loaded their wagons with excessive chrome spears, awkward two-toning, the Beauville looked composed, purposeful, and the numbers backed it up. Chevrolet outsold Ford for the 1956 model year in one of the most closely contested sales battles in Detroit history, and the wagon lineup was a meaningful part of that win.
But the real story of the Beauville is not about horsepower or sales charts. It is about what it felt like to own one. Picture a Saturday morning in the summer of 1957. Dad has already loaded the tailgate. Mom has packed the cooler. The kids are fighting over the rear-facing seat and losing because older siblings always won. The V8 fires up with a sound the neighbors definitely heard. The new interstate on-ramp is 3 blocks away, and there is nowhere in America you cannot go. This was the promise of the Beauville. Not speed, not status. At least not the flashy kind. It was freedom. Practical, American, family-sized freedom. School drop-offs, little league games, church on Sunday. The Beauville was not a backdrop to post-war family life. It was part of the furniture. And then, quietly, the world started to change. The Beauville did not disappear overnight. It was a slow fade. Chevrolet was actively steering buyers toward the Bel Air as the aspirational wagon. The two-door Nomad, launched in 1955 on the Bel Air platform, was getting all the marketing attention. The 210 Beauville was quietly positioned as the practical choice. And in a culture increasingly equating car choice with identity, practical was not always enough. Then came the annual model cycle. The 1957 Chevrolet brought a complete exterior redesign that made the 1956 look immediately dated. The tail fins arrived. The horsepower race escalated, and then, this is the part most people never talk about, insurance. By the early 1960s, premiums on high-performance V8 configurations were climbing fast. Families who stretched to get into a loaded Beauville found the ongoing costs outpacing their incomes. The full-sized family wagon gave way to new formats, and eventually to the muscle cars that consumed American car culture for the rest of the decade. The Beauville had served its moment perfectly. And then, the moment moved on. Here's where it gets exciting for collectors. Survivors are rare. Not extinct, but rare enough that a clean original commands serious attention. A restored 1956 Beauville in solid driver condition typically sells between $25,000 and $40,000. A show-quality frame-off restoration with a matching numbers V8 and documented history, those have crossed $60,000 at major auctions. And they'll keep climbing. The reason is straightforward. The baby boom generation, now in their 60s and 70s, either owned these cars, rode in them as children, or simply grew up in a world where they were everywhere. The emotional pull is real. And beyond nostalgia, the Beauville offers something increasingly rare: genuine usability. This is not a trailer queen. It can be driven to shows, on road trips, to Sunday diners. The most valuable examples carry the 265 V8 Power Pack. Desirable two-tone color combinations, and full power options. Unrestored barn finds, when they surface, are treated as extraordinary discoveries. Before we close, here is the one thing almost nobody knows, and it changes how you see the entire car. When GM engineers were developing the 1955 and 1956 wagon lineup, there was a serious internal debate about whether to offer the 9-passenger configuration at all. The structural challenges were real: the tailgate, the roofline reinforcement, the rear suspension geometry. Several engineers wanted to stop at 7 passengers and call it done. The people who fought for 9 seats made one simple argument: American families are getting bigger, American roads are getting longer, and if we don't build the car this family needs, Ford will. They were right. That third row became the defining feature of the entire lineup, the detail that made the Beauville a legend instead of just another wagon. So the next time you see one at a car show, look at that rear-facing seat. It almost never existed. Someone fought for it, and that fight made all the difference. If this video brought back a memory or taught you something new, hit subscribe. We do this every week. Drop a comment below. Did you ever ride in one of these? We want to hear your story. Until next time, keep the chrome shined and the V8 running.